Well, welcome once again to Heroes Among Us, where we honor men and women who served in the military for this great country of ours. Today, my guest is Bob Kampe, and Bob is a World War II veteran.
Yes.
Who actually served on Normandy Beach. Is that correct, Bob?
I wasn't part of the actual invasion. I came in plus 10. We
Yes.
were replacements for the losses on the beach.
Right, and earlier you were telling me about you had somewhat of a relationship with President Truman, right? What's that little story?
Okay, President Truman is considered not a nice person because of his using the big bombs to end the war. But when World War II ended, they had a system, the military developed a system of points according to the actions where you were in and the medals you won and so forth. And then they went to a certain number of points, they went home. And after that, which I missed by a couple points, you were sent down to the southern coast of France and you were reissued tropical clothing. We knew we were heading for the invasion of Japan. And that was going to be like a suicidal mission. Japan was going to fight us off right down to the youngest child that could carry a gun. So we knew that our chances of surviving that wasn't going to be very good at all. But President Truman stepped in and decided to end the war with the big bombs. And he dropped one, and that kind of shook them, but they didn't stop. So when he dropped the second one, they realized that he still had more to go, and they couldn't fight that.
So then you were sort of relieved of actually taking part in that invasion then?
It would have been a suicidal invasion. We
Right.
would have died by the million.
There was another story you were kind of telling me about before, the Eagle's Nest. Can you tell us a little bit about the Eagle's Nest?
Hitler had a castle on top of a mountain that overlooked 5 countries in Europe. And it was up on there that you see the newsreels where he would go dancing around with Eva, and he would do little funny scenes and so forth. And it was from there that we got our signs of Hitler, what he was like. And I decided, I was in the area, we had marched all the way across France and all the way across southern Germany, and we were at the foot of the Eagle's Nest. So I decided that I was going to go up, knowing that he would be well protected and all, but my mission would be that I would offer them security and safety if they would surrender to me, and I could take Hitler prisoner. I started up, but first I needed a Jeep, and the sergeant in charge of the motor pool provided me with a Jeep and dozens of cans of gas, but said he was coming too. So now it's 2 of us. And at a roadblock where I explained my mission and where I was going, I picked up a lieutenant from the paratroopers. So now there's 3 of us. And along the way, we picked up a airborne officer, and he joined us, so it became 4 of us. But
So you put together your own little platoon, sort of.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, a party.
Right. And what was your position in the Army? What did you actually do in the Army?
I was a sergeant first class.
Okay.
I had come directly out of high school. I didn't have any college or nothing, only my high school diploma. And I was about as high as I could get.
It's pretty high. Yeah, that's
And,
pretty good. Yeah, sure.
I was the top-ranking sergeant in a military group.
Well, we're going to take a short break and bring to you a new segment we have here. It's called The Briefing. And we'll be right back with Bob after this break. Stay tuned.
Welcome to The Briefing. I'm Major Bob, and today our discussion is going to be on the Thompson submachine gun, 45 caliber ACP, 20-30 round magazine, and we'll be telling you a little bit about the history and its operation during the war. Originally designed by General John T. Thompson and was developed and meant to be used in World War I. The first Army shipments arrived on the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, which turned out to be Armistice Day, and the Army immediately canceled all contracts. So what do you do with all these Thompsons? Well, they went back, the guy almost went bankrupt, and they sold these as varmint rifles. And they were fully automatic at the time, and they were $200 a piece, which was pretty expensive for a varmint rifle. But somebody else appreciated the Thompson submachine gun, mainly the gangsters and gun malls, and they used it to great effect and became known as the gangster gun. And the Germans called Churchill one of the biggest gangsters of all because he posed with a Thompson submachine gun in one of the photographs in World War II. But what happened prior to World War II, we ended up down in Nicaragua, and the Marines needed Thompsons to fight in the jungle against the insurgents. Unfortunately, the Marines didn't have any. So where did they go? United States Post Office. They had Thompson submachine guns. Now, when you're walking in the jungle, you want to be quiet. And the Thompsons they had these drums, and when it's full of shells, they make noise with every step you take. So that was a problem. In 1938, the Army decided, hey, this is a pretty good weapon. We're going to adopt it, and they used it and made a few changes. It wouldn't take the drum anymore. It took 20 and 30 round magazines. They also changed the cocking mechanism from the top to the side. They made 1.5 million Thompsons during the war, and it was used all the way up to the beginning part of the Vietnam War. An excellent gun, well developed, each one handmade, and even so, everybody was out to get one, and the paratroopers used to end up stealing them from mortar crews, which didn't make them too popular there. But they needed the firepower, close in, a devastating weapon, the Thompson. Thank you. I'm Major Bob.
Well, welcome back, and once again with here Bob Kampe. And Bob, so tell us about that experience. I know you were there 10 days after the invasion of Normandy, but still, there must have been a hell of a lot going on at that time. So what was your experience in that, and what was your journey from that point on? I believe you mentioned something about Russian troops, but on the beach itself, let's start there and try to give us an idea what you went through and took place there.
Well, we landed on the beach, and they moved us. We were a group of kids just out of high school, and hot to trot and ready to really go into war. And we got shoved right up as replacements for the men that had been lost on the beach. And as I say, we were ready to go. I was ready to really start fighting, and
the beach, tell me what it looked like on that beach when you landed on that beach. What did you see when you landed on Normandy Beach?
Oh, it was a terrible, terrible mess. It was, there were still bodies floating in the water, and vehicles sunken and bombed all over the beach. And they hadn't gotten to starting to clean up or straighten up or do anything yet.
Imagine at that point in time, from what I recall, the Germans had machine gun bunkers up there. They were pretty much all taken out at that point? Or?
Yes. They used fire guns to shoot into the bunkers, and as they came running out, we had no choice but to shoot them. There was no place to take prisoners or hold them or guard them or do anything else.
So once you landed on the beach, what was the next objective you had?
Well, we got rushed into the troops that had survived the beach, and we were replacements for the people they lost. And as I said, we were young kids just out of high school, and we were ready to go to war. And I stood up with my rifle. I wanted to start shooting. And luckily, I was with a veteran that grabbed me and pulled me down. And he pulled me down just in time, and my helmet took a glancing rifle shot.
Okay.
It wouldn't have killed me, but it probably would have singed my head. It was that close.
Right.
But it bounced off my helmet, and I realized that suddenly I became of age. I realized they're trying to kill me too.
What was the part with the Russian troops? How did that come about?
Well, as we advanced across Europe, across France, across southern Germany, we eventually met up with the Russian troops. And we were getting ready to head for Berlin when the survivors of the Russian military, of the German military, surrendered, thinking they could negotiate a safer end for themselves. It didn't work. They were tried at Nuremberg and executed with all the others. It was too late. They had waited too long. But in the meantime, as I say, we had met up with the Russian troops, and they went through a lot, Stalingrad and so forth, but still there was an undercurrent. We just did not like them, and they didn't like us.
So you kind of had that sense of like
Yes.
there was some future problem that's going to exist here eventually.
It
Yeah,
was there.
Sure.
It was there. We had that mutual feeling for each other.
I heard you were on honor flight too, right? Did you go on that? Was your escort your daughter? Was
Yes.
that Pat who
Yes.
escorted you? Okay, yeah.
Yes, she was my escort,
Okay.
and she wheeled me around, pushed me all over in the wheelchair. The World War II monument, and then we went on to the other monuments that were available, and the Lincoln Memorial.
Nice, sure.
We really covered the area. She did a tremendous job. She pushed me from one end to the other.
It is a great day. I filmed 3 of them. It was like an 18-hour day, so
Yes.
I was tired. I can imagine how tired you were at the time. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
do you have anything else you'd like to add? Right now. I mean,
Okay, France decided to award their highest medal to all the American soldiers that fought on French soil to save France from being totally overrun by the German army. It's quite an honor, right?
well, it's quite of an honor to have you here on our show. And I want to thank you for your service and your sacrifice. And, it's great to have you, Bob, really.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Well, thank you for watching Heroes Among Us, a show where we honor the men and women who served our country. And if you happen to see any veterans as you're walking around, please thank them for their service. And you all take care, and God bless America.